You know that feeling right before a storm? That fresh, clean, electric scent in the air? It's something we all know. But what if I told you that the same atmospheric magic that creates that smell can also deliver an invisible and pretty dangerous threat? We're going to connect that familiar smell of rain to the fascinating and frankly startling science of acid rain. I mean, seriously, have you ever stopped to think about it? That smell that just hangs in the air, telling you a storm is coming. It feels so primal, so ancient. Well, it turns out it's not just one thing. It's a really cool chemical cocktail. So here's the deal. There are actually two distinct scents. That sharp, clean, almost bleach-like smell you get before the rain starts, that's ozone. The insane energy from a lightning strike literally splits oxygen molecules, which then reform into O3. Ozone, the storm's own winds then push it down to where we can smell it. Then there's petrichor. That's the amazing earthy smell that happens after the rain hits dry ground. It's literally the smell of compounds from soil bacteria being released into the air. Two totally different smells for two different moments. Pretty neat, huh? But you know, that fresh scent of ozone is a powerful reminder of all the crazy chemical reactions happening up there in the atmosphere. And, well, unfortunately, when we start pumping our own pollution into that mix, the rain that follows can be anything but refreshing. In fact, it can become downright toxic. And that brings us to the main event. Acid rain. In simple terms, it's really just any kind of precipitation, rain, snow, fog, you name it, that's become acidic because it's mixed with pollution. And we're talking about specific pollutants here, sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides, which are mostly byproducts from burning fossil fuels. So how does this actually happen? Well, it's a pretty straightforward three-step journey. First, you've got the emissions. Power plants, cars, factories. They all pump sulfur dioxide and nitrogen oxides up into the air. Then, step two, up in the clouds, these gases have a little party with water and oxygen, and they chemically transform into sulfuric and nitric acids. And finally, step three, that acidic water falls back down to Earth. And get this, it can fall as rain or snow hundreds of miles away from where the pollution even started. And once that acid rain hits the ground, the problems really begin. We're not talking about a small, localized issue here. It sets off this whole cascade of damage that ripples through entire ecosystems. And yeah, even through our own cities. Just look at what it does to plants and forests. It's absolutely devastating. It can cause leaves to turn yellow and can even create dead spots, literally burning the foliage. But the real damage is happening underground. It messes with the soil's chemistry, washing away crucial nutrients like calcium that trees need to grow. It basically starves them. This leaves the trees weak, stunted, and totally vulnerable to things they could normally fight off, like cold weather or disease. It's just as bad, if not worse, for our lakes and rivers. This quote here really says it all. As the water becomes more acidic, the entire ecosystem just starts to unravel. First, the fish eggs can't hatch. And if the pH drops low enough, it can kill the adult fish too. It's a silent killer that can turn a vibrant, beautiful lake into a lifeless body of water. And this isn't just a problem out in the wilderness. Nope, it's happening right in our own backyards. In our cities, acid rain literally eats away at our world. It corrodes the metal on our bridges, makes paint peel right off buildings, and speeds up the erosion of stone statues and priceless historical monuments. It's dissolving our own history right in front of us. Now, in cities, the problem gets even more intense. It's all because of this phenomenon called the first flush. And it's exactly why the first few moments of a rainstorm in a city can be the most toxic part of the entire event. Okay, so think about it like this. During a dry spell, all sorts of gunk, oil from cars, heavy metals, litter, you name it, builds up on surfaces like roads, parking lots, and rooftops. When it finally starts to rain, that first wave of water acts like a broom, sweeping all of that accumulated nasty stuff into the runoff at once. This creates a super concentrated punch of pollution right at the start of the storm. I know this graph looks a little technical, but it shows what's happening perfectly. That straight diagonal line, that's what it would look like if pollutants washed away evenly throughout the storm. But look at the actual curves. They shoot way up, way above that line. This tells us that a huge percentage of the pollution is getting washed away in the very first bit of rain. So if you follow that top curve, you see that the first 20% of the rain is carrying almost 80% of the pollutants. That massive early surge is the first flush. And here's a number that really puts it into perspective. Research found that, on average, just the first 38% of the rainwater runoff carried away half, a full 50% of all the pollutants for the entire storm. That is an incredibly concentrated problem. Okay, I know that all sounds pretty bleak, but here's the good news. We absolutely know how to fix this. It's not a mystery, and it takes action on every level, from huge industrial changes right down to the small choices that you and I make every single day. So the solution really needs to be a two-pronged attack. And the great thing is, we know these things work. On the large scale, industries can wash coal to remove sulfur before they even burn it. They can install devices called scrubbers on smokestacks that literally grab the pollutants before they get out. And at the same time, our individual actions really do matter. Conserving energy at home, using public transit, or just consuming less in general, it all adds up to fewer emissions. So what about that crazy intense urban first flush? Well, for that, we have some seriously clever engineering like the storm tank. The idea is brilliant in its simplicity. See how it works? That first super polluted surge of runoff gets diverted into this massive holding tank. It captures that toxic slug of water so it can be treated later. Meanwhile, the cleaner rainwater that comes after the first flush is allowed to just flow on safely into our rivers. It's a perfect targeted solution. And that brings us right back to where we started. From the simple smell of ozone telling you a storm's on the way, to the complex acids it can carry, and the incredible solutions we can build to protect ourselves. So the next time you smell that fresh, sharp scent in the air, you'll know it's the smell of atmospheric chemistry. And you'll also know it's a reminder of the really delicate balance of the air we all share and our role in protecting it. So, what will you think of